Wild NE here, and as always, NE stands for Nebraska. Oh, Big Red Yay Huskers! It is Friday, the 22nd of March, and finally, the winter blues are over. My first ride in quite a while, since early January. We've had snow and cold. And generally crap for weather and road conditions. And that's that. So we're trying yet another test of the Purple Panda hardwired mic to my GoPro. We'll see how the audio turns out. A week ago today, I got a new phone. My old phone was a Nokia Icon, a Windows operating system based phone that in May I would have had for 5 years. So I kind of splurged. Said, gee, if I'm going to keep a phone for 5 years, I might as well get a good one. And I got an iPhone XR. First ride in a long time, calls for some caution. Gotta watch the gravel on the road. Because our snow has not been gone all that long. Wednesday morning, I went up to North Bend, Nebraska, and they got hit fairly hard with the flooding that maybe many of you have heard. If I remember, I'll put a link to some drone footage from last Friday, the 15th of March, the Ides of March, drone footage from North Bend. Wednesday morning, they took some relief supplies up to their distribution center to help people out. My weekly coffee group all chipped in. It's a tragic story. 3 people I think are known dead. 1 or 2 are still missing and presumed dead. Up in the little town of Niobrara, Nebraska, which is up on the Nebraska-South Dakota border. The dam, Spencer Dam, broke and sent an 11-foot wall of water washing downstream. And one of the missing was in a building that is no more after that water washed through. Another one of the missing is in Norfolk, Nebraska. His car got stalled in some running floodwaters, and the rescue people couldn't get to him in time. And and his car and he were washed away, and he's not been found yet, so presumed dead. My goodness. My goodness, my goodness. This feels good. Aired up the tires. They really hadn't lost much pressure, but as all we bikers know, those two patches of contact with Mothership Earth are pretty important to us. I probably should slow down a little bit. Here I am again, wanting to go how fast she wants to take me. We just had a terrible confluence of factors. The ground was still frozen. We had lots and lots of snow, especially a little further north from here. And then we got rain. And there was nowhere for water to soak in, so it all ran to the rivers. And eastern Nebraska, the rivers were just terribly overflowing. You can see satellite images of what they look like normally. Look for the Elkhorn River, E-L-K-H-O-R-N, or the Platte River, P-L-A-T-T-E, or the Missouri River. Broke through levees, the big, huge pieces of ice. You can see piles of these iceberg type stuff piled 3 times higher than they've got one picture of a state highway patrolman standing before that, and it's 3 times as high as he is. Huge chunks of ice. And if they were being driven by an 11-foot wall of water, you can imagine what damage they did. Lincoln didn't get any flooding. We have a creek called Salt Creek, which goes through the northern part of Lincoln, and I think that got awfully high. But we have pumps for our water system that sit on an island up in the Platte River, and those had to be shut down. So we were on mandatory water rations for 3 or 4 days. Started out voluntary, went to mandatory, and now it's back to voluntary. They had National Guard helicopters dropping sandbags around the pump house to try to give it some protection. But towns south of Lincoln and towns north of Lincoln, I mean, the other day I went to Nebraska 511 to see all the road conditions to figure out, can I get to North Bend, and if so, how? And oh my gosh, we had bridges washed away. We had one historical bridge washed away out by Sargent, Nebraska. Built in the early 1900s. Mormon Bridge. bridge up by Niobrara was washed away. Just isn't there anymore. Bridge crossing one of the three ways to get into my little hometown. The bridge withstood the flooding of the Elkhorn River, but on one end the earth was washed away, so you can't get on the bridge. Or if you're coming the other way, you can't get off the bridge. So it's going to be a while. Gonna hurt Nebraska's fiscal condition with all the roads, hundreds of miles of roads that have to be redone, and numerous bridges that have to be repaired or replaced. I'm sure lots of you folks have witnessed or lived through Mother Nature's disasters that she can throw at us. Nebraska doesn't get this kind of flooding hardly ever. Interesting factual tidbit: Nebraska has more miles of river than any other state in the country. Yeah, the banks on the north side of here of the road still giving us reminders of the last couple, three snowstorms that we had, like a 1, 2, 3 punch.